Hello guys, this is Aaron from ROGUEWORX Airsoft, and I've got a bit of a science experiment video for you today. We're going to be doing a range testing video out at 80 meters with one of our custom build guns, where we've thrown literally everything at it. This was built for a customer, and we've given it everything we've got. This is what happens when you spend about £2,000 on an airsoft rifle, particularly a KCO2, an underlever converted gas sniper rifle running on CO2 mags. This has got every part you can think of from our range: solid state bolt, Genesis conversion, master precision rail, judgment trigger set, and a Hogue underlever, as well as a custom carbon fiber barrel. See, this has been tuned to shoot around 2.3 joules. You're looking at an output around 328, 330. It's got a 380mm edgy in a barrel, a steel one, and the barrel is also slightly recessed in the outer. It's got a 440mm outer barrel for a bit of foam in the last 2 inches for internal suppression. So, at the back of our workshop, we are lucky enough to have a tree which is 81 meters away. That's kind of at the edge of what most airsoft rifles would be able to reach at realistically with any degree of accuracy. Now, we were waiting for several weeks for a calm day where we could actually do some range testing, as I've had several shooting sessions with this gun. It's had about 1,500 rounds through it, and they were all on windy days, unfortunately, so we couldn't really demonstrate the accuracy this gun was capable of. So we finally got a day in early August where there was no wind whatsoever. Unfortunately, it was still a very hot, quite a humid day. You're going to see in the video there's loads of bugs flying around, but there was not a breath of wind. We've recorded about 40 minutes of range time with this gun. We put about 300 shots through it. I will say that I'm not the best. I'm not an airsoft YouTuber, but this was recorded with a Runcam Scope Cam 2, which I believe has a 6x zoom on it, and I've had to apply some video stabilization, and you'll also see that the camera was not perfectly zeroed to where the gun was shooting, so it's kind of up and to the right in the frame of the video for most of it. I'll put a little clip up of what the video would look like if I don't apply any zoom or stabilization to it, and it's not very watchable, especially if you're on a phone or anything like that. Then I've overlaid a very simple crosshair, which I then move the video around so that the crosshair stays in the center of the screen, but because I know that I was aiming at the same point on the target tree every time, I just center the crosshair on that point where I was aiming on the tree for each shot, so that I know the video is lined up correctly. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that this video answers any questions you've got about the sort of performance these guns can do. Okay guys, a quick review of the first mag that we've put through the gun in this video. You can obviously see there's quite a strong right hand bias, and I will later figure out that this is because I'm subconsciously leaning the rifle to the right as the target and field that I'm aiming at is on an incline. You can also see that I'm struggling to actually get the rounds to reach at the point where I'm aiming. We get a few flyers, but still up and to the right, but very few shots actually landing where I want them to go. Most of them are either dropping slightly short or curving off to the right. So we'll see how the gun progresses after this. Okay, review for mag 2. You can obviously see we still have the right hand bias, which again is me accidentally leaning the rifle to the right. I've yet to realise that I'm actually doing it. However, you can see we definitely have a lot more shots on target in this mag, and a lot of them are reaching the range that we want. We just still unfortunately have that right hand bias. You can see all of the shots are to the right of the point of aim here. So let's see if I correct that in the upcoming mags.
gas. How many rounds have we got left? That's still 4 mags out of 1 bulb.
Okay, for mag 3, although I did run out of gas towards the end and I had one shot which I clearly snatched to the left as I pulled the trigger, you can see that this mag is much more promising. We're not quite as heavily biased to the right, and we have a good group of targets that are definitely on the point I'm aiming on the tree at this point. So let's see if we can bring in some more of the flyers and kind of centralize the grouping a bit more after I've changed the CO2 cartridge in this magazine. I'd like to point out I got four mags out of 1 CO2 mag on this gun, so it's doing really well for efficiency.
Not got any more zooms. Does this thing not have adjustable focus? Shit compared to that.
Okay, further improvement on magazine 4 here. You can see that the grouping overall is much more centralized, but we're struggling to get that tight center grouping on the point where I actually want to aim. So although we've not got as much of a right-hand bias anymore, and we seem to have a pretty equal spread of rounds above and below the target, we're not really getting many actually on the point that we want to hit here. So let's see if I can tighten that up over the next couple of mags. Okay, this is what we want now. We're seeing a definite improvement over the previous mag. We unfortunately still have quite a lot of flyers above and below the target, but you can see we are now developing a tight central grouping right where we're aiming. It still has a slight bend to the right, which I still think is me not quite holding the rifle properly. The hop is curling slightly to the right, so I need to correct that, but it's mainly just the flyers above and below the target that are the concern now. So let's see if we can do anything about those. Okay, magazine 6. This is definitely the strongest mag that we've put through the gun in this session. You can see that we're tightening up the grouping now, and the majority of the shots is within a few inches of where we're actually aiming on the tree, with only a bare handful of flyers above and below the target, which is pretty good for hot performance and exceptionally good for accuracy. So all of those shots would have been close to a headshot, if not a headshot, and definitely torso shot, no problem at 80 meters. So that's pretty darn good performance for the gun here.
That's running out of gas already. Yeah, wasting my time here, man. Wasting my ammo. All done.
Okay, not a lot to say about this final mag. You can see that we ran out of gas towards the end there, and that was the end of the shooting session for today, so that's why all the rounds was kind of dropping short on this final mag. But you can see that we've got sort of equal number left and right of the target, so it's good to see that I think I safely corrected the lean that I was having on the rifle towards the end of the session. That's definitely something we've got to watch out for when using this gun in future. Okay, congratulations guys if you've made it to the end of the video. I just wanted to give some closing thoughts. So for the first couple of mags that I put through the gun during this session, I think it was kind of warming up after I'd cleaned the barrel out with some solvents at the end of the last shooting session. So it took a while for it to kind of settle back down again. And then you noticed about halfway through the session, I realised I was slightly canting the rifle to the right because the tree that I'm aiming at is actually the other side of a river. There's a river between us and the target tree, so the river's not actually in a flat field, it's on a slight gradient. So I was probably subconsciously leaning the rifle to what I thought was a flat horizon, but is actually a slight slope. So you can see that the accuracy of the shots in this session improved greatly once I started forcing myself to hold the rifle vertical. And I think that's just a danger when it comes to these like carbine type stocks. And when you're doing long range shooting and you've not got a bipod, you really do have to, if you're looking to hit a really long range shot with hop up, it is important that you've got the gun perfectly vertical. Otherwise, when you're depending on hop to reach those long range targets, they are going to curve off one way or the other if you've not got it perfectly vertical. And consistency of your shooting position also plays a big part. So if I really wanted to land consistent 80 meter headshots over and over again, I would absolutely be using a bipod and having a stable bench to rest that bipod on. That's not really what this gun is kitted out for. It has only got a 380mm in a barrel, not a 510. It's in a rubberized stock with no riz rails or anything, so I didn't want to put a bipod on it. I could have clamped one to the barrel, I suppose, but that would have been a bit messy as it's a carbon fibre barrel. So what you've just seen is pretty much the limits of the accuracy for this gun when you're sort of holding it freehand, just resting your elbows on a bench for shooting. Maybe if you have like a little spirit level or something that you can just eyeball. I think my scope mount does actually have one, but I wasn't using it because I was shooting from like a dark room in the evening so that I could see the rounds better outside. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing what the capabilities of a £2,000 airsoft rifle with multiple custom built or custom imported parts slapped onto it can do. See you on the range.